Welcome to Storytime with Sonia Panda. I will
Peppa's and her golden boots. It was the day of the big puddle jumping competition. Peppa and her friends were practicing jumping up and down in muddy puddles. My daddy always wins, boasted Peppa. He says the first rule of puddle jumping is to wear your boots, and mine are very special because they are made of gold. They are not gold, replied Susie Sheep. They are yellow. They are not yellow. They are real plastic gold, protested Peppa. Would anyone like some orange juice? Called Mommy Pig from the house. Yes, please, replied everyone. They ran inside, leaving their boots outside the front door. When Peppa and her friends had finished their juice, they headed outside to put on their boots. Oh no, my boots have gone, sobbed Peppa. Mr. Zebra arrived with the post. I have just seen a duck with boots on, he said. Peppa sniffed. Were they gold? No, yellow, he replied. Mrs. Duck came running down the hill, wearing Peppa's golden boots. Quack, quack! Peppa ran after her. Mrs. Duck, can I have my boots back, please? But Mrs. Duck did not want to give Peppa's boot back. She did not stop running until she reached Captain Dog's boat. No one could stop Mrs. Duck. She leaped into the water and swam away. Captain Dog started his engine. I think my boat can go faster than that duck, he exclaimed. But Captain Dog's boat could not keep up with Mrs. Duck. That is a fast duck, he said. Mrs. Duck finally stopped at a little island where Grumpy Rabbit had been shipwrecked when his boat capsized. Mrs. Duck has my boots and she won't give them back, Peppa called. Don't worry, Peppa, replied Grumpy Rabbit. Mrs. Duck has nowhere to go. But then Mrs. Duck started flying and she was still wearing the boots. Oh no, cried Peppa. Mrs. Duck is flying to the moon with my boots. Don't worry, Peppa, said Grumpy Rabbit, pointing to the neighboring island. We will take my rocket. I really don't think Peppa's boat will be on the moon, said Mommy Pig. Nonsense, insisted Grumpy Rabbit, helping everyone into the rocket. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, blast off! On the moon, Peppa and her friends searched everywhere for Mrs. Duck and the golden boots. Let's ask at the shop, suggested Susie Sheep. You don't get shops on moon, explained Daddy Pig. Postcards, called Miss Rabbit from inside her gift shop. Ice cream, buckets and spades. Meanwhile, Grandpa Pig had spotted Mrs. Duck in his garden. Those are not your boots, are they? He asked. He quickly dialed Daddy Pig's number. Hello, Grandpa Pig, said Daddy Pig. Yes, Peppa has lost some boots. We will be right there. Next stop, Grandpa Pig's garden, announced Grumpy Rabbit. Peppa bounced excitedly out of the rocket. My boots, my golden boots, she exclaimed. Thank you, Grandpa. Grandpa Pig helped Peppa put them on. Now we can go to the puddle jumping competition, said Mommy Pig. Oh yes, agreed Daddy Pig. We'd better hurry. The big puddle jumping competition was about to begin. "Fast up, Daddy Pig!" cried Mr. Potato. Daddy Pig took a giant leap and made a very big splash. Then it was Mr. Elephant's turn, and Mr. Elephant made an even bigger splash. "Mr. Elephant is the winner," announced Mr. Potato. Peppa cleared her throat. "Please, can I have to go too?" she asked. "Oh, of course," replied Mr. Potato. "And can all my friends help?" Peppa asked. Mr. Elephant was not pleased. Hang on, I don't think that's really. It sounds perfectly fair to me," interrupted Daddy Pig. Sploosh! Peppa and her friends made the biggest splash ever. "Peppa and her friends are the winners," declared Mr. Potato. I still think," began Mr. Elephant. "Hooray!" cheered everyone loudly. Peppa loved her golden boots. Everyone loved their boots. And everyone loved the big, muddy, puddle jumping competition. Quack, quack! Peppa Pig, playtime for Peppa and George. This is Peppa and George. Peppa is George's big sister. They share a bedroom and lots of toys. Peppa and George love being brother and sister. They play fun games together every day. One day, Peppa and George are with Mommy and Daddy Pig in the living room. Mommy Pig has to work on her computer and Daddy Pig wants to work in the garden. "Peppa, George, why don't you two play a game?" asked Daddy Pig. "Oh, goody," says Peppa. "George and I love to play games." George likes that idea too. It is a lovely sunny day, so Peppa and George run outside. "George, let's jump up and down in muddy puddles," shouts Peppa. Splish splash! But George does not want to jump in muddy puddles today. He would like to play a different game. "Okay," says Peppa, "we can play catch instead." Peppa tosses a ball to George, but George does not want to play catch either. "George, what would you like to play?" asks Peppa. Oink oink! George has an idea for a new game. Peppa follows George to Mommy and Daddy Pig's bedroom. "There is nothing fun to play in here," says Peppa. George shows Peppa a box at the end of the bed. "What is this?" asks Peppa. "Wow," says Peppa. "George, do you want to dress up and pretend to be Mommy and Daddy?" Oink oink! George does want to dress up. "Good idea," says Peppa. "I want to play that game too." Peppa helps George put on Daddy Pig's black hat, coat and shoes. "Now you must pretend to be exactly like Daddy Pig," she says. George thinks for a moment. He makes a loud noise, just like Daddy Pig. "Very good, George," says Peppa. "Now it's my turn." Peppa puts on Mommy Pig's fancy dress and hat. Then she puts on the high-heeled shoes. Suddenly, Peppa is very tall. "Hee hee hee," they giggle. "Dressing up is very silly." "George, what else do I need to look exactly like Mommy?" Peppa asks. George does not know. Peppa goes over to Mommy Pig's dresser. Sometimes Peppa watches Mommy Pig sit in front of the mirror and get ready to go out with Daddy Pig. "I need makeup, of course," she says. "First, some powder," Peppa pats the pink powder on her cheeks. Puff, 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 lovely. Now for some lipstick. Peppa draws on a smile using Mommy's shiny red lipstick. How do I look? George thinks Peppa makes a very pretty Mommy Pig. Come along, Daddy Pig, says Peppa. It's time to go to work. Peppa and George walk downstairs. They find the real Mommy Pig working on her computer. Hello, Peppa. Hello, George, says Mommy Pig. I beg your pardon, says Peppa. I'm not Peppa. I'm Mommy Pig, and this is Daddy Pig. Oh, I see, says Mommy Pig. Hello, Mommy Pig. Hello, Daddy Pig. George, Peppa whispers. Remember, act exactly like Daddy, says George. Excuse me, says Peppa. I have a lot of work to do. She picks up Mommy Pig's telephone. Hello. Yes, do this, do that. Thank you. Then Peppa taps on computer keyboard. Tap, tap, tap. Peppa is very good at pretending to be Mommy Pig. All right, goodbye, she says, hanging up the phone. And done. Come on, Daddy Pig. It's time you did some work too. Peppa and George go back outside. They find Daddy Pig digging a hole in the garden. Hello, Peppa and George, says Daddy Pig. I'm not Peppa, I'm Mommy Pig. And this is Daddy Pig, says Peppa. Oh, I see, says Daddy Pig. What are you up to today? We are here to do some work, declares Peppa. George jumps into the hole and begins to dig. He is having fun pretending to work like Daddy Pig. Peppa jumps into the hole to help George dig. Suddenly they hear Mommy Pig calling from the house. Peppa, George. Mommy Pig has brought ice cream for everyone. You must take off those muddy clothes before you eat, Peppa and George, she says. I'm Mommy Pig and this is Daddy Pig, Peppa insists. Are you sure? asks Mommy Pig. That's a shame because I have Peppa and George favorite ice cream flavors. But if we can't find them... Peppa and George quickly take off the muddy clothes. Here we are, shouts Peppa. We were only pretending to be you and Daddy Pig. Ho ho, you really had us fooled, says Daddy Pig. It was George's idea to dress up, says Peppa. Oink, George nods, licking his ice cream. You both did a very good job, says Mommy Pig. Peppa and George love ice cream and they love pretending to be Mommy and Daddy Pig. But most of all, they love being brother and sister. Slurp, slurp, hee hee. Peppa Pig, my mommy and me. This is my mommy and me. We do everything together. I love doing things with my mommy because she can do anything. Here are some of our favorite things to do. Great steering, mommy. We love racing downhill together as fast as we possibly can. Whee! Look out, Peppa! My mommy is super fast. We love making little craft projects together and enormous ones too. Just a few more hours and we will be finished. Peppa, my mommy is super at craft. We love looking for adventures together, like zooming deep down into caves and deep down into snow. My mommy is a super adventurer. We love having fun together at soft play. I think her favorite part is the ball pit. I need a little help, Peppa. My mommy is super funny. We love dressing up together. We pretend to be lots of incredibly important people and other things too. My mommy is a super dresser-upper. We love dancing together. We spin around and around and around and fall over again and again and again. My mommy is a super dancer. But most of all, we love soaring high over the mountains together, sometimes even without a plane. My mommy and me love doing everything together because my mommy is super mommy. Peppa Pig, Peppa's first glasses. Peppa and George are outside playing with their friend Pedro Pony. They are busy jumping in muddy puddles. Splash, splash, splash! Ha ha ha! Peppa giggles as she jumps up and down. Splash, sploosh! Ha ha ha! Splish! R-O! Pedro exclaims as he slips in a puddle and falls over. His glasses fly high into the air and land on the grass. Nay, where are my glasses? Pedro asks Peppa and George, stumbling about. Pedro can't see very well without them. Peppa and George look for Pedro's glasses. George quickly finds them and tries them on. Silly George, Peppa says. She takes the glasses and gives them back to Pedro. Here they are. Thank you, says Pedro as he puts them on. Pedro, why do you wear glasses? Peppa asks. I need two replies, Pedro. My daddy says so. He is an optician. What is an optician? Peppa wonders. Pedro explains. An optician checks that you can see clearly. He does an eye test. Shall I give you an eye test? Pedro asks Peppa. Peppa agrees and Pedro leans in close. Interesting, he says, rubbing his chin. Close one eye and say what you can see. I can see George, Peppa says. George snorts. Now close both eyes. Pedro instructs Peppa. Peppa closes both her eyes. I can't see anything, Peppa says. Can't see anything. Very, very interesting, Pedro says. I think you need glasses. Soon it is Pedro's home time. He waves goodbye to his friends and goes home with his mom. Pedro and George go inside. Pedro gave me an eye test and I need glasses, says Peppa. When I closed my eyes, I could not see anything. No one can see anything with their eyes closed, Mommy Pig explains. But Peppa sighs. Pedro knows all about glasses. All right, Peppa, chuckles Daddy Pig. Let's take you to the optician for a proper eye test. Peppa and Mommy Pig are at the optician's. What can I do for you? Mr. Pony asks Peppa. I need an eye test, please, Peppa replies, jumping up into his special chair. Of course, Mr. Pony says. Put these special glasses on and then look at the chart. Mr. Pony is going to test Peppa's eyes. Can you read this for me, please? asks Mr. Pony, pointing at some numbers. Peppa says what she can see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Very good, Mr. Pony says. And now, these colors, please. Red, orange, blue, green, yellow, purple, says Peppa. Excellent, Mr. Pony says. Mommy Pig helps Peppa try on some glasses. while Mr. Pony checks the test results. Some pears look a little funny. How about these? Mommy Pig says to Peppa, holding out some red heart-shaped glasses. Wow, I like these ones, Mommy says Peppa. They both agree that Peppa looks fantastic in the glasses. Mr. Pony comes back with the results. Good news, Peppa has perfect eyesight. Oh, so I don't need glasses? Peppa sighs disappointedly. But I really wanted some. Oh, Mr. Pony says, thinking, I suppose you could have some sunglasses. Peppa puts on a pair of red heart-shaped sunglasses. Fantastic, Peppa says. I hope it's sunny every day so I can always wear them. The end.
For watching. I hope you enjoyed the story. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to Storytime with Sonia Panda to listen to more stories with me. Take care, friends.